ancient time, we couldn't have all these technologies. So the concept of the new universe was wrong. Like in the ancient times, we have two theories about the universe. One is you can see the picture. It's kind of the sun and moon are constantly moving, and the earth is like a flat square, and the sky is like a dome. It's round. This is one concept. Obviously, it's wrong. So everything our ancient ancestor observed, like is based on a wrong concept. But even on a wrong concept, you can get a correct measurement. As I said, nothing is definite. Like the straight line is not straight. like 100 kilometers of a straight line is not actually straight. And when you think about the physics, like the quantum physics is different from the macro physics. They're completely different. Like the Newton's second law, it doesn't apply to everything, right? When you look at the small particles, it doesn't work. The Newton's second law doesn't work anymore. So this word is the same. And this picture here, this is the Dunhuang Xingtu, Dunhuang star map. So it is from Dunhuang. And on the first slide, that picture is this one. So basically, that's the picture our ancestors observed the sky, and they draw different things, then use these different things to mark things and also predict things as well. So why do we say they can predict things? In ancient times, how did people live? Agriculture, right? That's the most important thing for like ancient China, because you had to grow crops. Then you had to get the plants, and you have to know when to plant the seed, when to like water, when to expect the harvesting. Now only emperors, when they know the star, okay, they know which month it is, and is it going to be winter, is it going to be summer? Then when you know the time, you can control the crops, then you become the king. So in ancient times, this is something special. You can only only controlled by the royalties in ancient times. Now we talk about Yun Liu Qi. It's very hard to translate this term because Yun itself has so many different meanings. Like Yun, sometimes we can say it's kind of like fortune, and also we can say it's a movement. It's sort of like a form of movement of energy. So it is like 5 different Yun, and it's constantly changing, constantly moving. Of course, as the same 6 Qi is always constantly moving and changing as well. This is from 黄帝内经素问。夫自古通天者，生之本，本于阴阳，天地之间，六合之内，其气九州、九窍、五脏、12节，皆通乎天气。So since ancient times, life has been connected with the universe, and it's rooted with yin and yang, and is everywhere between the heaven and earth. 六合, I didn't translate it like, because it means like 六合 means like 4 directions and up and down. So basically, it's already everywhere. And you can say in Neijing, we already had this concept, the human body, like the joints, the 12 joints. What are the 12 joints? The shoulder, the elbow, the wrist, the hip, the knee, and the ankle. These 12 joints, and everything is connected with the universe. Then we can apply this theory to the treatment, to Chinese medicine theory as well. It's because everything is connected with the universe. Another important term is the 24 solar terms, 24节气. Because as I said, agriculture is massively important in ancient times. You have to know when to plant the seed, how to expect that the crops grow. So I was a bit lazy, so I made this picture myself. It's not very accurate, you can see, because it's supposed to be like there are like 24 signs, and each of them have like a 15-degree angle. So altogether, it's a 360-degree. That's I just roughly draw this picture. And this is the sun. And you can see like we have in Western culture, we also have like 4 important time points. It's like a spring equinox, right? Sometimes we can call it a vernal equinox. And we also have autumn equinox, summer solstice, and winter solstice. So these 4 special points are what? Like a special points when the sun's angle changing to the earth, because everything in Chinese present in Yun Liu Qi are based on the North Hemisphere. It doesn't apply to the South Hemisphere. It doesn't mean like you can't use it, but you have to change something, because all this time and things are based on the North Hemisphere, based on like when the ancient Chinese observe the sky, observe the sun anew, is probably like in mid of China, around Henan province, that area. And so with different angle, here I didn't mark the North Pole and the South Pole. You can see this is the sun and this is the earth. And here is minor cold, and here is minor heat. It looks like minor cold is closer to the sun. When the earth is actually closer to the sun, it's actually hotter. Oh no, yes, it's actually colder. Why is that? Anyone knows? Yes, because of the angle. The earth is not like perpendicular, right? It's because the North Pole and the South Pole, it has certain angles. For example, if this is the sun and this is the earth, and in North Hemisphere, like when the sun's here, right, and the sun's light can kind of like spread into the North Hemisphere more, but in the other angle, probably it's tilted a little bit, so the North Hemisphere actually get less sunlight in the winter. So that's why in winter time, it's actually we're closer to the sun, but it's in North Hemisphere we actually feel it's colder. And with these 24 solar terms, you can know, okay, this is like the basic ideas of the seasons, of the temperature changings. And like here's minor snow. I think it's minor snow. I marked it because like it's closer to now, like November 22-ish this year, probably. 小雪, probably tomorrow or the day after, I can't remember the exact date. So when we know these things with this 24 solar term, then we know, okay, this is the time to do what things. Like in China, even nowadays, people look after our well-beings. So in each solar terms, we turn to like eat something, certain food, and it's good for the well-being. Like we mark, okay, this is the start of the winter, this is the start of the autumn. That we know, okay, this is the time to do certain things, like autumn is the metal, you should tonify the lungs or whatever. In winter, it should be store the energy without spending too much of your energy. But there, there's this special thing about the Yun Liu Qi timeline and the how to say the birth date, because later I'm going to talk about the birth date and the Yun Liu Qi. In general, there are 2 like ideas. One idea is the Yun Liu Qi, the new year will start from Da Han. Another idea is Yun Liu Qi is started from the Li Chun. But in general, personally, I prefer Da Han. personally, I use Dahan. Dahan is roughly this area. So you can see the Earth is constantly moving around the sun, and from like a little colder and become a major cold. And this is the concept of the 24 solar term. So in general, the Dahan, this solar term, is around the 20th to 21st of January. So that means as a Westerner, when you try to look for the Chinese calendar, it's not easy. Sometimes because Dahan, these words can be some names or whatever. So when you try to Google it, it's very hard to find the correct information. As a Chinese, we can just type in Dahan in Chinese, then we know when is the Dahan, because it's when someone is born around 20th and to 21st of January, then you're kind of confused. Is this the previous year or the next year? So the best thing is actually, if you can remember the Chinese word, or if you Google it, the 24 solar term, then you find Dahan, you copy the Dahan in Chinese, then Google it with certain years, like Dahan Chinese word, and for example, 1981 or something like that. Obviously, you can get a Chinese Google result, but you can also use a Google translation. Then you can get a date. Then you know when is the Dahan of that year. In Yun Liu Qi, today we're only going to talk about the Sui Yun or Da Yun. It's the Yun of the year. But we also have Zhu Yun, Ke Yun, Zhu Qi, Ke Qi. So these are all different concepts. The year Yun is basically this year. There is a major influence of this year, and it affects all the people born in this year, and it also affects everyone still alive in this year. And that means that you can be vulnerable within certain elements or certain angles if you were born in certain years. So that gives us the treatment options as well. Apart from the Sui Yun, which is the year Yun, we also have Zhu Yun. Zhu Yun is the 5 seasonal qi. 5 seasonal qi, 5 means what? 5 elements. So you know what is, can you guess what is the 5 seasonal qi? Yes, basically it's 5 elements. Then we have 4 seasons, but in Chinese medicine, we have 5 seasons because we have a long summer. The long summer is kind of match the dampness. And also we have guest Yun. It's just a slightly different from the Zhu Yun. The Zhu Yun, the 5 seasonal Yun is kind of constantly, the same every year, but it's
in the sequence of 4
seasons. Yeah, the sequence is the same, but you have too much or not enough. The same as the seasonal Yun is always changing as well. It sometimes can be too much, sometimes can be not enough. And we have Zhu Qi and Ke Qi. Ke Qi, Ke means guest, 6 guest Qi. So these 6 Qi, when you studied acupuncture, you must be familiar with these channels, right? 厥阴, 少阴, 太阴, 少阳, Yang Ming, Tai Yang. So these different elements, these different qi are combined with these meridians as well. So when you do the treatments in the future, when you study deeper, you can actually combine this Yun Liu Qi theory with meridians and with acupuncture points. That's a more detailed, tailored, bespoke acupuncture treatment. But today, just going to give you a general concept what it is. Not going to expand it too much. We talk about the observing the star and the universe, watching the sun and the moon. In ancient times, from at the beginning, obviously, you just watch the sun go left and right, east and west. That's a single movement. Then we developed watch the shadow of the sun. We have something like a pole. Then you observe the shadow is changing every day. Based on that, we also have the like mathematic books and also some sort of like a calculation method. Is all based on the length of the sun. When we observe, after observing the star movement and sun and moon, what we get? Calendar. That's the whole purpose of the observing everything, because you have to write down things, then you can predict things, right? Like with the calendar, you know, okay, today's the what, like 21st of November, you know that. Without the calendar, you can't know that, you just get confused. Okay, probably tomorrow is going to be cold, probably it's not. When you have a calendar, you can actually calculate things and you can predict, okay, tomorrow maybe it will cold, or next month is that the winter is gonna come. And Chinese calendar is very complicated, because we had so many dynasties, and each emperor and each tribes, they have their own calendar. And of course, the culture has already developed so much from ancient times to now. But basically, the calendar we use at the moment is lunisolar calendar. So in Chinese, we call it 农历. Sometimes we call it 阴历. It's not, a lot of people, like, for example, for me, most of the time when I explain to people, oh, this is a lunar calendar, but I'm just being lazy. It's not really a lunar calendar. The Chinese calendar is a mixture of the sun and the moon. We observe the changes of the sun and the moon movement. So when we started to have the calendar, we have 天干地支, heavenly stems and earthly branches. So like in UK, you know, there are some school of acupuncture called the stem and branch acupuncture. They use this method a lot. So what are these sort of like a 天干地支? Basically, from the beginning, they're basically just numbers. Instead of like 1, 2, 3, 4, 10, we use 天干地支, and these are 甲乙丙丁, blah blah blah, just different characters. We use these to record the date. And in ancient Chinese, like we prefer to use 2 characters, like one heavenly stem, and the second one is the earthly branches. When we use these 2 together, you get a new number, and this new number have 60 combinations. You can see these are all Chinese. You don't have to understand. I'm going to show you something else. So basically, this is what I did, like a stem. That's from like we have 10 stems and 12 branches. 10 stem means like I use like a S1 to S10, right? S1, S2, S3, S4, S5, 6, and S10. And for branches, we have 12 branches. So that's from B1, B2, B3, and to B12. So let's start to matching these two numbers. They're not really numbers, but I just say numbers for you to understand. We start from S1, B1, okay? And we have S2, B2, S3, B3, S4, B4, S5, B5. Then we come to S10, B10. So we only have 10 S, right? There's no S11. So you have to start again, S1. But we haven't used all the B. So you continue with the B, that is B11. So we got S1, B11, S2, B12, S3, B1. Then you come to the, okay, we used all the S again. So we started a new S. This is S1, and we haven't used all the B yet. So that's S1, B9. So when you calculate everything to the end, what's that? That's S10, B12. When we reach this number, this thing, S10, B12, the next S will be what? S1, because only have 10 S. And we have B12. Next one is what? B1. So it's come back to S1, B1 again. So basically, there is only 60 combinations. That's why we often say, okay, the 60-year cycle, because we only have 60 combinations. There's no more. We said the Chinese calendar is like a lumi-solar calendar. But at the beginning, which one is easier to observe? Definitely the sun, because in the night, probably you want to go to bed, and probably the weather is not good. But the sun, most of the time, it's easier to observe, and you feel like more energy from the sun. You kind of like more connected with the sun. So this is a picture from the Yao capital, Yaodu. Obviously, this is like a rebuild. It's not the real thing. They found it, then they rebuild this thing. So it's kind of like a Stonehenge, right? So in Stonehenge, you can observe the different seasons and things. And for this one, it's the same. You observe the shadow of the sun. And we find some scientists found out probably in this period of time, they had like 20 solar terms. That means what? Before we just said we had 24 solar terms, but here we have 20. It's only because in ancient times we have like a 10 months calendar. We don't have 12 months calendar. So all the months is 10 months. Then when we start to observe the moon, we know better about the stars and everything. Okay, we know actually it's not 10 months. We can actually spread it out into 12. So then we start to have 12 months. But 10 months, that matches what? 10 heavenly stems. 甲、乙、丙、丁、戊、己、庚、辛、壬、癸。引上书爻典，立象日月星辰，尽受民时。So in 上述爻典 says, observe the sun, the moon, and the star to tell people time. That's the job of the emperors, all of the high position powers. Some people, this is the job. They can tell people when to do things. Then actually they become the leader. So this is if you can, of course, obviously it's better to remember it. But if you can't, it's okay. You can also have the idea of like a S1 to S10. But it's best to remember all these, at least pinyin, because if you try to remember the Chinese words, it's kind of like difficult. But with pinyin, it's okay. It's only 10-ish, so it's not too bad. So when we observe there's a sun, the moon, and everything, we didn't actually have 10. As I said previously, that observatory, we found out like that there were like 20 solar terms. It's not 10. Nothing is 10, right? What is 10? The cycle of the moon is not 10. The cycle of the Saturn, of whatever, is not 10. Nothing is 10. So where are the 10 stems? How it comes to 10? Why is 10? Have a guess? It doesn't match anything.
It's the 2 times of 5 elements.
That's correct. But not just in Chinese culture, in most of the cultures in the world, we use 10 like the maximum number. In most of the cultures, a lot of cultures, we have 10. It's not just Chinese. Obviously, we get this 10 like in different places, and we know, okay, there are 10, right? But why?
Like double 5 element, one is over, one is
Yeah, but not just Chinese. A lot of people in other cultures, we have 10 as well. But in other cultures, they don't have 5 elements. They have no idea of what is 5 elements, no. Because what? Fingers. That's a possibility, fingers, because when you're counting dates, what can you use? Of course, you can use stones, but what is the most convenient thing? Yes, 10 toes. But fingers, yeah, fingers are more convenient. So that's possibility. We have 10 fingers. Then we can know the numbers. Okay, today, tomorrow, the day after tomorrow. Then we have 10. Possibly, that's the beginning, because we literally cannot find any cycles from the universe which is 10. It doesn't make sense. Like the moon, the sun, nothing is 10, nothing. Seriously. We have the 360 days a year, roughly 65 days a year. It's nothing to do with 10. Like 30 days, no. 28 days a month, no. Nothing is 10. That's why possibly is from the fingers. And this is the most convenient thing, because before you develop all the numbers, you have to count. Probably in some places, like they used to have this knot, they have knot on the rope, then they kind of like know the numbers. But before that, less than 11, maybe, okay, 10. That's all we have. That's the maximum. We have 10. 10 is the 4, because we only have 10 fingers. That's a possibility. It's not 100% accurate, obviously. Nobody really knows why, but this is possible. And this is a picture of the oracle bone script of 10 heavenly stems and the 12 earthly branches. The very ancient words of Tian Gan, Di Zhi, the stem and the branches. So in ancient times, these also kind of like the mist is also related to the empress family, and the different people have different jobs, and they use different character to match different people. But again, that's just a story. There's no actual meaning. So this one is something I made. Definitely, this is not accurate in reality. You cannot see these things clash together. It doesn't happen like that otherwise. Thank you. Thank you. But it's actually accurate. So this is the sun. Obviously, the sun is not that small, because it's a small screen. I can't make the sun too big, otherwise I can't show everything. And this is the Earth, right? It's just spinning around all the time.
It's only 4, not 5.
No, it's not 5. And this is what? Jupiter. This is Saturn. And you can see, for example, like the Earth, like one circle is what? A year. And the Jupiter, one circle is around 12 years. Saturn is 30 years. When you're actually counting, like, for example, like, just wait. Okay, they're going to meet together. Let's start from now. Then you start to count the Earth's movement. The Earth will actually like spin around 20 cycles. That's 20 years. So every 20 years, the Saturn and the Jupiter have a junction. They meet together. They meet together. And every 60 years, they return to the same position. And in every 60 years, the Earth, the Jupiter is kind of like the closest distance with the Earth. That's a 60 cycle. And in Chinese, 悬空风水is just one school of feng shui. We have like 180 years cycle. 180 years cycle. We have 9 yun, so 9 movements. like for example, so each movement is 20 years. And interestingly, this where current Yun, this 20-year cycle ends 2023. And this cycle, this 20 years is Earth cycle. And Earth means what? Related to what? Property market. So in last 20 years, like it's still now, we can see there was like a big profit in property market. Next, from 2024, it will become the ninth Yun, the ninth Yun, which is Li, which is fire. Fire is what? Energy. Energy. That means in 2024, probably the energy industry will become really filthy rich.
It depends on how you take the property market as. Yeah, well, we don't know what is that the category of that element it is. What do you think?
Property is the earth.
Is the earth.
Earth.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yes, earth. Earth.
Fire,
Fire is energy, technology. High-tech companies and energy companies, they will become filthy rich.
oil.
Yeah. Oh, well, oil not so much.
Oil is it?
Yes, different. Oil probably is different, probably. And another thing is Li means what? Fire. This Li in Chinese means what? The eyes.
So to do with the vision.
Yes, we probably will have more eyes problems in the future. And it's kind of like
Hypertension.
yes, hypertension, eye problems from 20. Yes. Heart problem from 2024. And naturally, it makes sense because now we just stick to the screen constantly and more devices, more like glasses, whatever. And probably like in a few years' time, we'll have more and more glasses and eye problem.
So it's better for you to invest in optical vision.
So some people say, okay, where does these five elements come from? Some people say, okay, it's from these different planets. We have Jupiter, which is wood. We have Mars, which is fire. With Saturn, which is earth. Venus, metal, and Mercury is water. Probably in ancient time, it was okay-ish. But when you observe the star, observe the planet, nowadays it doesn't really make sense. But as I said, nothing is definite. And probably in ancient times, these did make sense. So probably these stars can still have some effect on our health and our well-being as well. So basically, like Jupiter, you can see like it has like a clear cycle of 60 years. It matches a lot of things in Chinese medicine and feng shui and other things, the Jupiter, and is related to the wood element. And in Chinese saying the Dongfang Jia Yi Mu, these sort of things. So a lot of like things are represented by Jupiter. So next thing, we're going to come to the real thing today. This is today's important thing, the Sui Yun, the year Yun, 5 elements. Of course, we all know the 5 elements, and we have to match different Yun with different years, right? In Neijing again, so basically, most of the things I'm talking today are from Neijing. Sorry. 甲己之岁土运统之. But I'm not going to actually read it. So basically, you can know the different stems, different 10 stems have different matches, different elements. 甲己, it matches earth. 乙庚 matches metal, and 丙辛 matches water. And this picture was someone drawn in Song Dynasty, and you can, it's not very clear, but you can see from it doesn't really matches like Bing, this one, Bing, in here, Xin, Xuan Tian. This line, Xuan Tian. So basically, this line is Xuan Tian. You can see Bing, Xin is connected by Xuan Tian. Xuan Tian is what? Black. Xuan is black. That's water. So when you watch these pictures, you know, okay, because of the ancient Chinese, we observe the stars, we observe the different like planets and the stars, and we kind of like got a conclusion. And when certain stars meet certain angles, we get certain elements. That's a possibility because this theory is from Song Dynasty. We don't know what's real like before Song Dynasty, but definitely this Song Dynasty is a lot older than us, so it potentially could be true. So now we're getting to the cheating part. Because it's not possible to ask you to calculate all the years and remember it. It's just not possible, to be honest. And if you don't read Chinese, you don't read the Chinese calendar, it's just no way for you to understand everything. So if you actually check the Yun, the year Yun, and the normal years like 1984, so you can actually find some sort of like rules, like here, 1984, 甲子 2074, 甲午. So start from 甲. So the first stem, first tiangan is 甲. And this what? All will end with 4. It's the same here. If the tiangan, if the stem, 10 stems start from xin, start with xin, and this, sorry, I shouldn't say this. If the year end with 1, then the stem is xin. If the year end with 5, the stem start with yi. So basically, once you know the year, the number, you can quickly know, okay, this is what? This is what stem. Then you know, okay, these can match to a certain element, right? Because we already know different elements matches different stems. Now you just need to know, okay, this is Jia, okay, Jia's here, and it's us. You can also just jump into it. Okay, 4 is what? 4 is us. So you can completely forget about the concept of stem. Just remember, 4 is us. That's it. You don't need to remember anything else. 4 is us. That's it. But again, as I mentioned before, what 大寒? Do you remember 大寒? The starting point of the 五运六气 24 solar terms is around 20th to 21st of probably 19. Yeah, some years actually start from 19th, 21st of January. So you have to, if someone was born during 19th to 21st of January, you have to double check. For example, for myself, like my year is 7 is here. It should be wood. This thing, but actually I'm not. Why? Because I was born before 20th of January. So my year was actually 6. So once you know the da, when it's da han, you know, okay, this is a date. So if someone is born before 19th of January, you have to go back 1 year, because a year doesn't start from the 1st of January, doesn't in Chinese calendar. It starts, not start, but 五运六气 start from around 20th of January. So 20th of January is kind of like starting point. You need to look for it. Check the Dahan date of that year, then you know which year it is. Then you know which element it is. Then you can match different numbers. The 4 and 9, earth, 5 and 0, metal. So basically, once you remember these numbers, then you know, okay, this is it. You know the year, you know the elements, then you can use it. Apart from different elements, Yun, there's another concept, is too much or not enough. In Chinese culture, we never say things move smoothly, constantly. It doesn't exist. It's all like yin and yang. It's always up and down. It's a cycle. It goes up, goes down. It's a different cycle. So when you have something good, like too much, then next year is what? Next time is what? Next time is not enough. So when the odd number, when it is an odd number, it's too much. When it's an even number, it's not enough. But remember, here is very important. This number, odd number and the even number, it doesn't mean the year number, doesn't mean like a 2022. It doesn't mean the 2, right? It means the S1, S10, S. So if the S1, it is 1, it's an odd number. That's too much. S2 is even number, then it's what? Not enough. So remember, this part is not related to the year number. It's completely different. So these things is when you start to learn it, it's very easy to get confused. Just remember, this odd and even doesn't mean the number of the year, but it means the year or the number of the 10 stems, like 甲乙丙丁. So you just remember like what S1 to S10. It's easier for you to remember.
So we have to use lunar calendar. It's not normal calendar. To based on how to
No.
figure out.
No.
Just lunar calendar.
No. What Chinese the calendar we use is a combination of lunar and solar calendar. The lunar calendar is just the moon. It doesn't make sense because in our yeah.
有大寒in between the relationship in between 属相，就是说大寒 before born 大寒 is 属相 and different after the moon.
Yeah, that's something like we can never agree on. Nobody can agree on these other things. And also you have to combine with the person's symptoms and maybe characteristic.
Okay.
That's easier. So this one is the acupuncture part. This is also from 内经素问仪篇. So we have a weak wood, which is not enough wood. Not enough wood is what? Not enough is what? Even numbers, right? Remember, even numbers. So it has to be S2, S4, S6, S8, S10. And not enough is what? S4, ding. So 4 is not enough. It's wood, but it's not enough. And in Neijing said, when the wood influence is repressed, the liver seal, needle, the Jingwell points of the draining channel, liver 1. And the needle 0.1. Here I'm just being lazy because the original text is said 3分. Fen is a smaller measurement unit, like a millimeter and a centimeter. The translation is like a 0.3 cun, but it's actually a smaller measurement unit. Is called fen, which is 1/10 of cun. So you just have the idea of it. The needle 0.2 cun or 3 fen, 3 fen, and breathe 6 times. This breath is for patients, and quickly remove the needle after 得气, and needle left side first, then the right side. Here you can see all these 3 and 6, it all has meanings in Chinese medicine, in Chinese culture. All these things have different meanings, like 6 is yin number and the 7 is the yang number, different things. But I'm not going to explain too much. And
for man.
sorry?
This is for man, for male patient.
In general, yes.
Yes.
For some scholars, this is only for men. For some scholars, but not everyone, you still can use it. Even if you use the same one for women, it still works, but maybe not as good as the male.
It probably also depends on the patient's body size.
Yes, probably.
Bigger person or slim one.
Not the body shape. No, not body shape.
No.
No. But here it's like a 0.3 twin. That's like it's actually too much for liver one, right? It's quite long. It's almost impossible to get like a 0.3 twin inside the liver one. So you need to know, like sometimes these numbers has a meaning. It doesn't need to really squeeze the needle in 0.3 twin, but you need to have this concept 3 in your mind. Even sometimes personally, because of the, a lot of patients are very sensitive. I don't even needle these Jingwell points. I use like a copper gold needles just to touch the point and touch a few times, and just that's it. I don't really needle it for some like extremely sensitive patients. And when the fire is weak, the fire influence is being repressed. The heart is ill. The evil qi is in the heart can be treated by needling the in-spring points on the drain pericardium channel, pericardium 8. The same, like needle 0.3 twin, breathe 6 times, and quickly remove the needle after the qi. The left side first, and the right side second. And so weak earth. Weak earth, when the earth influence is repressed, the spleen seal needle the shoestring points on the spleen channel, spleen 3. Needle 0.3 and breathe 7 times. 7 is what? 7 is the yang number, and quickly remove after the qi. When the metal is weak, when the metal influence is repressed, lung you needle the Jing river points on the lung Tai Yin lung channel, lung 8, needle 0.3 twin and breathe 3 times. And quickly remove the needle after the qi. And weak water. When the water influence is repressed, the kidney is ill. Needle the Hershey point on the Shaoyin channel, kidney 10. Just a needle for 0.3 twin, 4 twin, and breathe 3 times. But personally, these point, Hershey point, you can actually needle it. But for the Jingwell points, I don't really do it. I just use the gold needle too. So I'm not going to read all these. So you can just take a picture. Then I will talk about something else.
Are you going to post all the slides?
No.
Don't.
No, I can give you the pictures, but not the PowerPoint, because I use a lot of like animation and things. It's just way too big.